Are we witnessing the fall of Hollywood?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think we're witnessing the fall of something.
Yeah.
What? The world is ending. The world is ending. I don't care what you say. Like Ryan Garcia,
Yeah.
he did quiet on set. All these things. The bridge, like what?
This the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, rock, top, top.
Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Welcome back to another episode of the Petty Headquarters. I'm your host, Tiana Locke, and with me is my lovely co-host by the name of
Jesse Strange.
Yes, and today we are going to be talking about what everyone else is talking about.
The news is hot.
The news is hot. The P. Diddy, Sir Puff Daddy, clearly has gotten himself into some shit, and rightfully so. So yes, we are going to talk about all of it, from his 2 houses being raided and just all this bullshit that is just surfacing the internet, like for real.
It's just coming out, like just one after the other, just so much coming out. So
Back to back to back.
we are filming this on March 28th.
Yep.
All right, just so y'all know.
Yep.
Okay, because there's probably going to be more shit coming out.
More shit. It's
Mhm.
like, I feel like we're in a movie.
Yeah, we're watching it.
I feel like we're watching the movie for real. Like, this shit is like a movie. I'm like, what is going on?
Just like a Fast and Furious movie.
It's worse than a Fast and Furious movie. I don't even know what to call it. Like,
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
I know
low-key.
you're very excited.
I've been on it, y'all.
You've been on. She has really been on it. Like every single new piece of information that has come out, you have been on it like nonstop.
Yeah, shout out to Tisa Tells and Murad Morali.
Shout out to them
because they literally do not waste any second. Next thing you know, they be posting the tea. So
yeah,
I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in. So why don't you start us off?
First of all, I want to just give a little sidebar here. I am sick again.
Again, yeah, you always getting sick, yo.
I'm going through it this year, y'all.
You really are.
I don't know if it's because I'm 30 and like it's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I'm sick. So if you hear a little congestion, nasally, any like, any of that stuff, just forgive me.
And also, I'm not wearing my headphones because I got Bantu knots. Like, I'm not about to look stupid with the headphones with these Bantu knots. So
yeah, so it's a little different. But I'm excited because I've been wanting to talk about it for a bit now. So I guess we could just start off with what happened. What was it, on Tuesday? Diddy's houses were raided.
Right.
LA and New York. And there was like media coverage on it.
Yep.
You saw his sons get arrested.
Yep.
And ever since then, the media has just been kind of taking everything else by storm, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you've seen it already. But it was funny because a lot of people, there's just so many different perspectives.
Yeah, there's so much. Okay, so let's just start it off with what we know, right, so far.
Okay.
So we know that Cassie was suing him and came out with a lawsuit against him. And then the next day, he immediately settled. How much was that, 30 mil?
Something like that.
Yeah, so around 30 mil. He settled, which automatically raises a red flag, right?
Right. And Cassie doing that was smart because not only did she not need to talk,
right,
but she had opened the gates for other people.
Right.
And I think that was the most pivotal, like that was a pivotal moment in the direction of where we're at now, because without Cassie's lawsuit, it would have never opened the gates to allow other people to feel comfortable or feel like, all right, maybe I have something that I can, go, like, I can actually win this.
Right. But my thing is, it's interesting because people have been suing Diddy for years, dating back to the 90s. So I just think it's so interesting how now all of this is coming to the forefront and being stirred up because people have been saying something from the time he shot that woman in the face, from the time, and the same allegations. Allegedly, she says in her video that
allegedly, just to cover our ass, because it's not
well, we don't even have that video anyway, so whatever, allegedly. Anywho, so like I was saying, people have been suing him for years for the same allegations: sexual assault, the R word, you know, drugging them, filming them, revenge porn, like things like that. So it's just like very interesting that people have been saying this. People have been suing. People have been speaking up, and nothing has been happening. He's been protected. And now this thing just is blowing up suddenly.
Have they been suing, or have they just been speaking up on it?
No, there's been a lawsuit back in the... no, there was a lawsuit in 2023 dating back to what he had done in the 90s.
So that's what I'm saying. So like, here's the thing,
but people have went to the police. People have said something.
And it gets lost after that. And so here's my thing, which I brought up to Tiana, which I think is like an interesting thing to think about, right? Cassie came out, and as quickly as it came, as quickly as people kind of just didn't even like look into the details. Because he got kind of what he wanted. He wanted to get it out the media as soon as possible.
As fast as he could.
And so what happened was nobody really, I mean, yes, there were people who looked into it, but it wasn't blown out of proportion the way this is, right? Like the details in Cassie's lawsuit is horrific. From a movie, like a trafficking movie. Like it's really horrific, the things that she went through, but not a lot of people really know the full details. And so I thought it was interesting that it took Cassie, 3 other Jane Does, and finally Lil Rod, a male, to finally put the nail in the coffin. And I feel like it's interesting because when women come out and they claim,
no one takes them seriously.
They claim sexual assault and all these other things, no one, they're just like, oh, you know, it's another Me Too movement. It's just, you know, it's kind of, yes, it's not, it's taken seriously, but not as serious when a man comes out and says, hey, you know, I too have been trafficked. Because it's just no real coincidence that 3 Jane Does, Cassie had came out, and then finally when Lil Rod, and granted, it could be different, like in regards to evidence that maybe Lil Rod had, you know, and stuff like that. But I just think it's interesting because I don't know if we would be here right now if there was another Jane Doe.
You know what's interesting is that, I'm not going to lie, like when the whole situation with Cassie came out and she was going forward with this lawsuit, I'm not going to lie, as soon as he settled, I thought, oh, they're just going to forget about it now. We're just going to move forward, and now we're just going to act like none of this happened. But surprisingly, that wasn't the case. More things just kept coming out. And it's kind of wild. And the public has some very interesting perspectives on why they think it's coming out now. But
so his house got raided, and you know, by Homeland Security, and a lot of people were kind of, there was like 2 perspectives, but a lot of people, which to my surprise, were upset that his kids were arrested and treated the way they were, which is interesting because, I mean, was it King who got a DUI recently? You know what I'm saying? And that's not saying, you know, all I'm saying is that it's known that his sons also partake in a lot of the illegal activity that...
Is it known or is it rumored?
It's rumored. A known rumor. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, you know, and I guess I get it where they're like, oh, like, you know, they shouldn't treat their sons like that because at the end of the day, they don't really have anything. Well, first of all, y'all don't know what they have on them. But, you know, I guess I can understand from a parent's perspective, but at the end of the day, usually when they raid the way they do, they don't, it's not like, it doesn't come out of just speculation. They usually have
a lot of information and evidence stacked against you.
And they've been watching you.
They've been watching you. It's kind of like that Epstein situation where they had a bunch of shit on him and have been watching him for years. And then boom, we got him.
So what exactly did Lil Rod tell the feds that got them to burst into Diddy's homes and put the hip-hop mogul's children in handcuffs? Well, we got our hands on Lil Rod's lawsuit, and here's what he had to say. Now, There's a lot going on in Lil Rod's lawsuit. It's almost 80 pages, but for the purpose of the raids on Diddy's homes, Media Takeout is only focusing on these specific allegations. Lil Roddy claimed that Diddy trafficked him, guys. This isn't about any woman being trafficked. Lil Rod claims that he himself was, by using intimidation and promises of money. To make things easier to understand, Lil Rod is claiming that Diddy was the pimp and he was the hoe. He's part of the lawsuit. According to the lawsuit, Lil Rod claims that Diddy allegedly drugged him and forced him to perform a freak-off with 2 workers.
But at the end of the day, y'all gotta remember something. There's a tactic. There's a psychological tactic behind what they do, right? And it's to scare them. It's to scare them enough to hopefully get more information of, because they don't want the kids, they want the guy,
and he wasn't there,
right? Which
conveniently wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I just find it interesting that, you know, people are speculating that he got tipped off because the day before, you know, he was seen pacing back and forth. He was also seen kind of like out of it, staring into space at a party with a bunch of other, you know, celebrities, and Flavor Flav was there being in that video. Which people believe that, yeah, like he got tipped off and he was able to fly out. And you mentioned a point about him using one of his jets as a decoy to escape from another jet.
Right. So it's been reported, and I believe at this point now it's kind of been confirmed. You can go look at Tisa Tell's YouTube channel. She has all the details and information there.
Yeah, because this whole situation with Diddy is so deep I'm sorry, like we don't have time to have every single receipt.
It's not even about the time, really. It's just the fact that like there's just so much that it's just
information
so much.
Overload.
It's really information overload.
It is.
But it's been all right. So what had happened was, I mean, I guess it's no coincidence, right, that he wasn't there. I mean, yes, if you believe in coincidences, sure, right, there is a chance that you know, that he was, you know, just conveniently not there. But when it was happening, I was telling Tiana, because I was on top of it.
You were.
So at first there was rumor that, oh, he has a black jet. That's a private jet. So it was rumored that he was going to an island trying to escape being confronted by the cops or whatever. But then later, it turns out that he was never on his private jet, which is where you see him get caught in Miami, because what had happened was that private jet had landed in Miami and was going to take off to Barbuda, Antigua. And he was boarding another private jet that wasn't his, or it was another one of his or whatever. So it was said to like that he used his black jet as a decoy to try to avoid talking to the police. And I believe now it's confirmed that that's what he was doing, because they asked for records and stuff like that. But that's where that famous video of him pacing back and forth in Miami or whatever is.
Do you have that video?
No, I don't have that video.
Okay.
But I want to go back to the Suns real quick, because they were saying that, you know, they were mishandled and that the boys are upset and, you know, that they shouldn't have been treated this way. But at the end of the day, you should be taking that up with your father. Like, you know, they don't just do this for fucking show and tell. This is something that you should be mad at your father, because he was willing to not only jeopardize your guys' future, your guys' reputation, safety. Because there was like they were talking about how, oh, you know, the cops, they had a laser pointed to the dog, you know, and that's scary. You know, that's your house. I can't imagine. You want to put yourself in these kids' situations.
They do not care when they doing those raids.
No, it's like, you know, imagine just living your life and then all of a sudden being swarmed by cops like that with guns and shit. That's scary, bro. And then seeing a laser on your dog, I mean, I'd be petrified too. But the person you're mad at shouldn't be at the government. It should be at your father. Because at the end of the day, I feel like they know what he does. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they have to know at this point. But, you know, and it's also rumored that 2 of his sons help him run his escort business. But I don't know. Everything here is alleged. I don't know.
But while this was all happening, people were like starting to tweet, "Where's Carisha? Da 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 da."
Oh my god!
There was this funny meme. I was dying. I gotta show it to you.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
It says Carisha listening to the feds arresting Diddy.
I saw that and I was weak. I had posted that shit on my story. I was like, yo, these memes are out of pocket and out of control.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you bring up the point with the sons, right? Because there's a lot of people that instead of saying and, you know, putting the blame on Diddy, which is rightfully so, they are shifting it and they're talking about, oh, you're always trying to bring a black man down, or they're talking about how the community is always first to attack its own community and how you don't see the other communities doing this, blah, 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 blah. So Akbar took it upon herself to go to Instagram and make this post. So she said, first of all, she starts off with, I don't know what Diddy did or what he didn't do. But what I find more disturbing is how the black community is the only community at his throat, not sparing his kids or nothing. Nobody is even trying to spare his effing daughters on this internet. And that's the fucked up part. Them are babies. Once again, I don't know what is true or not, but this has always proved my point. When I say the only skin color that will publicly go against each other is the black people, we don't stick together at all. Now, I'm not saying stick together with BS, but them kids are innocent and y'all get a thrill off of laughing and joking about other people's pain. But what I find even more disturbing is you never catch them Caucasians going against each other on the internet. They gonna stand and stick together or don't open their mouth at all. Y'all may hate this messenger, but y'all know what I'm saying is true. His daughters are in school, and I have a daughter. I don't wish that pain on nobody because kids are cruel in school sometimes. Let's start to do better. My thing is, if you don't know what the fuck is going on, then shut the fuck up. Respectfully. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's true. Then stop fucking talking. Don't come to the internet if you don't have your receipts, if you don't have your facts. And then secondly, you want to talk about daughters. You want to talk about kids. But clearly the man didn't give a fuck. Right. He's doing all this crazy shit, knowing that this is such a high risk. Did he ever put any measures in place to protect his kids? So it's like, okay, 1, 2, you want to talk about the black community this, the black community that. You argue with other black women online all day. So what are you talking about? Ooh. I'm sick and tired of delusional black people that love to sit here and talk about, oh, the black community is in shambles. Oh, you're trying to bring a black man down. No, the man's evil. The man's evil. Yeah. Okay? So whether he was white or black, he's evil. Keep that same fucking energy, period. I'm just so over it. I'm over the childish shit. I saw another post from this other black guy that talks the same way she talks. I'll show you. And you have it.
Benzino is legendary. He had wrote this. He posted, one thing about our culture is they can't wait to grab their popcorn and watch a black man go down. All while the powers that be continue to destroy the U.S. Sad as fuck. And I think it's interesting that you bring up daughters because at the end of the day, there's Cassie and there's 3 Jane Does that are daughters. You want to talk about who thought about his daughters. And mind you, I feel bad for his daughters.
And yeah, exactly.
I feel very bad.
Exactly.
Because it's like,
they're going to have to go through this.
You as a father,
right?
I would hope, right? As a father, you treat women the way you would want your daughter to be treated. But because life has a way of making you feel that pain.
Right.
Eventually.
Right.
So, and I don't wish that on nobody. But what I'm saying is that he didn't think about nobody's daughters.
Right.
So why are we, and not to say that, and that's not to say anything, because honestly, that's the people I feel bad for the most.
But my thing is, this is what I'm saying, and this is where I feel like it just becomes so weird to me, and again, delusional. I'm just going to call y'all Delulu, because you want to sit there and uplift the black community when it only fits your narrative and talk about black community this, black community that. Secondly, what I find very interesting is that, again, this man inflicted pain onto other black women as well.
Right.
So, and other black men as well. So it's like, you're not talking about the community with that.
Right. It doesn't make sense because you're bringing down one black man, but the victims are all black. Well, I don't know the other Jane Does, but I do know that Cassie's black and Lil Rod is black. So it's like, what are you talking about? That makes no sense at all.
Cassie's mixed, but I don't know if she's Spanish or black. But person of color.
Yeah, person of color. That's what I meant. But it's like still, and your argument makes absolutely no sense because it's hypocritical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a comment that had said, which was a really good point. Are you gonna read it?
Yeah, I wanted to read the comments.
Sure.
So one person in the comment said, wasn't quiet on set, just white people exposing other white people? ?
Valid point.
Right. And another comment said, did Diddy spare other people's children? And another comment said, girl, you attack black women, please hush. And then someone else said, why would I be concerned about his children when he wasn't? I'm just being honest.
I mean, it's true. And the Dan Schneider one is a great example of, you know, you don't hear that conversation when you hear, you know, when you see that, and this was going viral too, the quiet on set thing. And you don't hear the white community saying, hey, we got to stick together because you know, they're trying to bring another white man down. Like, you don't hear that.
No.
So I think it's interesting that like there's this narrative with the black community, but I did have conversation with somebody who said that she said our people are just very protective of each other. What is your take on that?
What are you protecting? Why are you protecting a rapist? Why are you protecting a fucking evil person? Why are you protecting, you know, why are you protecting this person? What, just because he's black?
A lot of people use the argument that, well, he hasn't been charged with anything. We don't really know.
That's a dumb argument.
We don't really know what is real and what is not.
I don't give a fuck, so then don't talk if you don't know nothing. I mean, you could say the same thing for us, but I feel like at least we come in with receipts. Like, y'all don't come with nothing. Y'all don't bring nothing. Y'all just start talking and don't have anything to say. Mm-hmm. You just want to sit there and say, oh, well, he's black. Well, that's not enough. I'm sorry. That's not substantial. Like, you know, come to me when you actually know what the fuck Cassie wrote about with her lawsuit. Yeah. Come to me when you know those excruciating details. You know, come to me when you know about the lawsuits from back in the 90s. Come to me when you know how he allegedly shot a woman in the face. Come to me, all that. Come to me when you have those details. When you know those things, right? Then we can have a conversation. But if you know nothing at all and are just saying, well, he's a black man, get the fuck out of my face because you're fucking delusional.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the people who say that don't have a lot of their information. Because at the end of the day, right, yes, he hasn't been charged, but that doesn't mean that these people are just making shit up.
Right.
Like, it's one thing if you have that one person randomly. It's one thing if you have one or two. But like,
there's multiple people.
History. There is history of so Diddy.
Many, and also, let's not forget what he did to Danity Kane. Mm-hmm. You know, he formed that girl group. It was during Making the Band, and that was a hit show that he had on TV back in the day. And one of the girls by the name of Aubrey O'Day, she got fired, and she didn't say why, but she was just saying that she wasn't going to do certain things that she didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. And she did say that it wasn't because of her talent. I left it at that.
Did you see what happened with that guy that came out about his cousin?
No.
All right, so I have it here. I'm going to show it to you. So it says here, TV personality Torre claims his male family member abruptly ended his internship with Diddy after Diddy allegedly wanted them to spend the night together.
Mm-hmm. I was personally disturbed many years ago, okay? I know this man well enough to call him and say, hey, I need a favor. Yeah. And this might have been 10, 12 years ago that I called him and say, hey, I have a family member who I want you to hire them as an intern. Yeah. And I have never talked about this publicly. And he said yes. And they were flying around, one of the interns, Atlanta, Miami, whatever, on the jet, in the house, whatever. And then the internship stopped abruptly, like 3 or 4 months into it. Yeah. And I spoke to my family member, like, well, what happened? And they wouldn't say. Yeah. And I'm like, why did it end? He wouldn't say. And years later, they finally came out, and this is a male, and said that Puff had said, come home, stay the night with me, or the internship is over. And they said, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not. And the internship ended. But from there, I was like, this is how it goes. Okay.
Yeah. And, I just think it's interesting that you bring that up because Usher also, you know, his interview with Howard Stern has been circulating and, you know, coming up to the surface again after he said that, you know, he lived with Diddy for a year at the age of 13.
Yeah, Diddy camp.
Diddy camp is what they like. What the fuck? Like I'm sorry, but with all the excruciating details, and even though he's not charged with anything, or even though you can sit there and say we technically don't know anything, all these people, all of these disappearing people, all of these buried bodies, all of these things that just don't make sense that are coming out. You are not seriously gonna sit there and tell me that I'm bringing a fucking black man down. Suck my dick, bitch. So this brings me back. Let me share the whole Usher video with you because I was appalled, bitch, because I was like, what the fuck? And then it makes sense because, you know, Usher also took in Justin Bieber, and I don't know what happened there, but clearly Justin Bieber seems very uncomfortable in Diddy's presence, as well as declining offers to go to his house, to go to his parties. So let me just play this little clip.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year. In the 90s, do you understand what that's like? It was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. There were very curious things taking place. And I didn't necessarily understand it.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
Yeah, you know, and this is where shout out to my friend from work because she asked this question. I'm gonna ask this question now. Where was your mama? Where was your parents? Why did they send you away at that damn age? 13? That's crazy.
Yeah, but look what this could be brought up with the same thing with Drake Bell and, you know, the Quiet on Set.
And look, where was his mama?
But right, but she ain't shit. But his dad really tried his best to stick by his side to protect him, and it just wasn't even able to happen.
Right, because the guy manipulated his way into the relationship.
And I feel like if that guy could do that, I'm pretty sure Diddy could do that and more.
Yeah.
And more.
Yeah, because he has way more power and money.
Right. But also he's like destructive. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like with him, not only is it like a mental manipulation and emotional manipulation, but also like physical abuse. So I'm just like, I don't really know. So if that could get manipulated where you can separate a child from their parents, who knows what happened with Usher's parents? You know what I mean? All these fucking innocent people's parents, these kids' parents, underage individuals. So
well, that brings back to the conversation of power dynamic, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There is a huge power dynamic. You know, Diddy, that's how he got away with it. He would promise these people a career, and he is a heavy influence in the industry, especially in music. So, of course, like, you know, anybody who sees Diddy is like, oh, okay, you know. But he is not the guy that you think he is. You know what I'm saying?
And it really is like that. You know, a lot of people speculate about Kim Porter's death and, you know, Biggie and all these
Tupac.
people. Tupac.
I mean, it's weird though because it shows how stingy Diddy is about money because it was only last year or 2 years ago where he gave the rights to Biggie's music.
That's crazy.
To his family.
Wow.
He held on to it this whole time.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Recently. It wasn't even that long. It's kind of crazy.
Like, look how long this guy passed away. Was murdered.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it's like it shows what kind of person he is. Like, even just that, like, okay, if you want to really truly believe that all that, unless he's been charged, all that shit is like not real. Okay, let's go by that. But when you really look at the fact that you've held on to the rights of his music this whole time, profiting off of every play that song, you know, and Biggie's huge to this day, you know what I'm saying? We're listening to his shit in the club.
Right.
So it's like, to think about how long Biggie's been dead and the fact that you just recently, a year or 2 years ago, gave the rights to the family, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's very greedy. And if you can do that, then
who knows what you can do?
You know, money, you're evil.
Right.
You're evil.
Evil. And I just think it's interesting just going back to Kim Porter. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but I just feel like a lot of people have their speculations on how they feel like her death was shady. Allegedly, she was going to write a book about, you know, the things that was going on and what Diddy was doing and all these things that she's seen. And then suddenly she just dies of some, pneumonia? Like, bitch, what the fuck? And then, you know, the coroner that saw something suspicious about her body, all of a sudden he dies too. Like, I just find it a little too suspicious for y'all to sit there and say I'm bringing a black man down. Like, I'm sorry if you don't know any of those specifics or any of those details. Nothing. If you didn't do any research, don't fucking say shit to me.
Or what about that white guy that got arrested?
Yeah, and, Brendan Paul, right?
I don't know his name.
I think that was his name.
Is he? He's dead now, right?
Is he?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought he just got arrested because the drugs and stuff. He was allegedly his
not him.
Not him. Okay.
Not him. I'm talking about years ago, that sex worker who got arrested and was claiming he was hired by Diddy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, we did talk about that. I don't remember his name.
All right, so his name is Jonathan Odie, and he was a man who shot at Trump National Doral or whatever. Anyways, he was arrested, and this was a couple years ago. And in his interrogation, he mentions how Diddy had hired him to have sex with him and Cassie, and, you know, he was a sex slave or whatever. He called himself that. And again, these things date back to years ago, you know what I'm saying? So it's like this information has been out,
right?
You know, and I just feel like I don't know, like how do you just gonna say all these people are lying,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna sit there and say, oh, I don't know what he did, but like, you know, like, come on, be fucking for real. But I just think it's very interesting that you mentioned that, because, you know, people now are talking about Young Miami and like what she had to play in this whole situation. People are saying that she was practically a madam to this whole operation, helping him traffic, helping him smuggle drugs, you know, basically helping him manage his little operation.
Yeah, well, in the lawsuit for Lil Rod, she's mentioned as a sex worker, and so is Daphne Joy.
Correct.
And Jade something, some other girl,
right,
who's on a monthly payment for Diddy as a sex worker, which, I mean, she thought she was good.
She did.
She thought she was good. She had Carisha Please.
Yep.
She didn't want to rap no
TV.
more.
Yeah, she didn't want to rap anymore. She thought she was set. She even made a tweet that said, oh, people be talking about how I can't rap. Like, I don't gotta rap. Like, I'm set for life. So, you know, I just think it's very interesting how this is all coming back full circle. But not only that, Young Miami's family member had also said something in regards to how, her and Diddy like had him do stuff and he witnessed all this crazy shit when you didn't see that? So in regards to Young Miami and, you know, and that family member being her cousin, according to Little Rod, you know, he has details explaining where Young Miami's cousin would follow Diddy into the bathroom and Diddy would offer sexual services and all of that stuff. I didn't read the full article, but there's like a whole detailed explanation on there. But I just think it's just really interesting that all this stuff is coming out about Young Miami. We don't know her role in it. We don't know anything.
She could be a victim for all we know.
She could be a victim too, because, you know, but
I don't think it's the same as Cassie.
I don't think it's the same as Cassie either. But another part of me, you know, people do say that at the end of the day, Young Miami, they're not surprised. This is not far-fetched, because before Young Miami was famous, she was always tricking. She was always with the ballers. She was always on a yacht, you know, with some guy that got money. And like, people are saying that her baby daddy was a drug dealer too. So it's like, she's used to this type of lifestyle. So of course, why wouldn't she do it with a billionaire?
Right.
Why wouldn't she do it with the billionaire? She's been in probably worse situations. Why wouldn't she do this with a billionaire? She could be set for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are speculating that aspect of it too. But I just think it's interesting that there are a lot of women, whether they dated him or not, that have been victim to his abusive behavior.
Yeah.
Gina Hyung, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she's Vietnamese and Black. She being one that dated him as well in the past. There was something where he had abused her. He stepped on her stomach and punched her in the head. And I just think it's crazy that that's coming out. But there was a point in time, you know, when Young Miami was doing her thing with Diddy. They were never together. They were just doing their thing. Gina and Young Miami went back and forth online on social media. And I have those receipts. And my thing that comes to mind is that seeing all of this, like, y'all was really going back and forth over a nigga that was most likely abusing y'all.
Right.
So it's just really sad to see. So people speculated at the time that obviously this Gina was talking about Young Miami was talking about Gina, because certain things started to like add up. So at the time, Gina had posted a picture on her story of, you know, her and Diddy. Diddy was kissing her cheek. And then after that, she had posted, if anybody is seeking attention, bitch, is you. Because I guess Young Miami had went to Twitter and posted something after she saw Diddy and her on her story. So she had said, get that head, bread, and leave. And then after that, she was like, you know, I am, and that's why I f***ing nigga, and I ain't coming off him because I don't care how many pics you post. So that's when she said what she said in regards to, if anybody is seeking attention, bitch, it's you. So then she said, attention, bitch, I am the attention. Let's be clear. I'm not arguing with no bitch that got cheap ass lint ball carpet in their house on a billionaire, you freaky ass bitch. And in my head, I'm like, aren't you also fucking on the same billionaire? But, you know, I don't know what was going on with her at the time. So then Gina posted on her story, it was like, why you so pressed, mama? I thought you was a city girl. Yeah. And so Young Miami is just on Twitter and was just like, notice me, please, ass bitch, go sit down. We see you, relax. It's okay. You've been around for years. You've been waiting on this moment. If he ain't make you famous, bitch, you ain't it. So I just think it's crazy just going back to that moment in time now. Like you guys were really arguing on the internet with each other, and Gina, he's abusing you.
Right.
He was abusing you.
Yeah.
And allegedly. She said it, but okay. Right. You know, allegedly he was abusing you, and Young Miami, you were running the whole game, allegedly. So at this point, it's really crazy just to go back to that. It's like, wow, this is very interesting. Very interesting behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I mean, it goes to show you also like just how money really just dilutes a lot of your moral compass and like what you do as a person and the things that you allow and the things that you just allow yourself as a person to either go through or to see and not say nothing because, you know, unfortunately, money talks, right?
Yeah. There was also another post where, you know, people, I guess, at the time, because she was flaunting Diddy. He was on Revolt TV on Carisha Please. She was saying we go together real bad with him and her. So it was this whole thing. So someone was like, can we give Diddy the same energy he's giving you? But you're a city girl, right? I get it. Y'all got love for each other. But he's making us city girls look crazy. Like, ain't no way a real city girl is letting a grandpa get one up on us. So she responded and was like, that's not my man. He's free to do what he wants. I'm not in a relationship. My focus is branding my brand right now. I've been through a lot these past years. I'm just having fun building.
That was Carisha?
Yep.
I don't know if she's having that much fun anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Everything
like, I'm just
she
like,
built.
This is crazy. You really thought your legacy was built. You thought you was set.
She was set for
you
life.
Thought you was set. Yeah, so bad.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, she could very much well be a victim
exactly.
as well. But, you know, she reps. Unfortunately, it's hard to look at, you know, Carisha as a victim when she flaunts the lifestyle of being a city girl. Because then it's like, you know, you're claiming.
Damn,
you know,
that's a crazy take.
Really?
She
Why?
could still be a victim.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying she can't. I'm just saying it's hard for people to accept that she can be. Because I think she can be a victim. That's my opinion. But what I'm saying is she doesn't make it hard. That's like Diddy saying I'm a victim. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no.
Because if you're partaking, if you're seeing this go down, then how are you, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like, it's fucked up because it's not
you're
like
contributing to the problem.
Right, because you are also the abuser. You know what I'm saying? You're like a Ghislaine Maxwell to the Epstein, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what role she plays. I'm just saying that when you're going online and your branding is basically being, hey, I like to use men for money and I do what I got to do to make money. It's hard for people to grasp the idea that, or have empathy for you when you can very much well be a victim. I'm just saying, like, you know, unfortunately, it just makes it harder. Just like when, you know, people hear that Daphne Joy, you know, that like she's claiming she wasn't a sex worker.
Right.
But, you know, she's claiming she wasn't a sex worker, even though Lil Rod had claimed she was, but it's kind of hard. There are people out on the internet who think it's hard to believe that she wasn't because she has an OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, though. You see, it's the same thing because she can very much be also a victim in this, in a sense of like, maybe she wasn't a sex worker. Maybe she's telling the truth.
Maybe
we'll
she
get
just
into that
did
later.
What she had to do for the moment.
Right.
Who knows?
But you know, it's kind of hard for people to empathize when you have a reputation of already being a certain type of person. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're not. I'm just saying, right. You know? But going back to the arrest, right? So let's bring it back to the arrest for a second. So Diddy got arrested. No, Diddy did not get arrested.
Right.
Diddy got detained by the cops or whatever in Miami, but who was arrested was his mule, Brendan Paul, who had on him, it was what? Cocaine, weed, 2C. First of all,
the new drug that you found out about. Too
2C?
hyped about that shit. You were way too hyped about that shit.
So I was like, yo, this pink drug, I never heard of this drug. Y'all heard of 2C before? Because I ain't never heard of 2C. But apparently, shit. I was like, yo, that should look interesting. It's just because it's my favorite color. I ain't never seen a more pink drug. I was like, yo. But yeah, it's a 2C. If you don't know what that is, it's a mixture of ecstasy and cocaine, which sounds fucking crazy to me. That sounds wild. But I think it's interesting that he got arrested because in Lil Rod's lawsuit, it says that he has everything that Lil Rod claimed that Diddy does in regards to drugs and having everything on hand. He had it on him.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that it just correlates with what is already in the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I'd be very interested. Do you think he's going to turn on him? Because I could see the cops sitting there saying, you know, because at the end of the day, they don't want Brendan Paul.
Right.
They want to take down
Brendan Paul.
Yeah, who the fuck is Brendan Paul? Like, you're just a little factor in this big operation.
Huge.
So you know how cops are. What they're going to say is, listen, we can take these charges off of you. We'll take care of that. And, you know, and in return, give me more information. And it'd be really interesting to see Brendan, or to see what happens from here, because obviously we're not going to find out until this gets many years later when this all goes down and we can see publicly what's happening. But I think Diddy should be scared because
I think he's already scared.
Yeah, and obviously, yeah, I think he should be very scared because these people now, I mean, what I would do is at the end of the day, Diddy was my ticket. So once he's, you know, the cops, he's in the hot seat, bro. Sorry. I'm giving you up. That's just what you got to do because at the end of the day, me and you are regular people. Brendan Paul's a regular person. He's a drug dealer.
Right.
You're really going to take an L for a fucking celebrity? Like, get out of here.
Yo, no, for real. But I just want to go back to Daphne Joy for a second. You know, keep in mind, obviously now the world knows that she used to date 50 Cent because 50 Cent went on a whole thing on Instagram, which is really wild. So, you know, he posted a picture of himself, and of course the caption was, you used to be a sex worker or some
I'll read
shit
it
like
to you.
that. Yeah.
He wrote, I didn't know you was a sex worker. You little sex worker, LOL. Yo, this shit is a movie.
Right. That was his caption. And I just think it's interesting. He really kept going in. Now suddenly he wants full custody of his kid.
He also wrote, nah, me and Puff fight over business shit. If he liked the girl, he liked the girl. I don't give a shit. He also posted that.
Which is weird because you keep posting about her being a sex worker.
I
Kind of
think
sounds like you give a shit.
I think because it said that Diddy had blocked a lot of 50's business opportunities back then, which I think is really funny now. Not funny, but like it's a slick business and power move on 50 Cent to kind of say fuck you without actually, having to really say it, even though he's kind of loud online.
Yeah,
anyways.
he's very loud online right now.
It's a good way because it's like he's making a documentary, and guess what? You're gonna profit off the same man who blocked a lot of your blessings back in the day. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
but I think I think 50's doing a little too much these days.
Right. So let's just talk about Daphne Joy and what she had posted on her story, which was a post and delete, by the way, right?
You have it?
I have it.
All right.
So Daphne had a post and delete which said, Curtis James Jackson, everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs? For nothing. We moved to New York to give you the opportunity to be a father to your son, and you saw him 10 times out of the 2 years that we lived, 1 mile away from you. I am tired of upholding and protecting an image to our son that you have never even earned. Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve a family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time. She then continues to say, I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I am a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that she posted that. She didn't leave it on for too long.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, those are very big claims that she's making.
Right.
But also, I want to touch on a few things. So you should be mad at Rodney, Lil Rod, whatever his name is, not Curtis, because he's just kind of trolling you.
And he's also getting the news like everyone else.
Right. So it's like the person, which she addresses that she has a lawyer, but two, she wasn't talking like that when 50 has another son who he has completely abandoned or like doesn't really talk to anymore when he was favoring her son. Now that this is happening, now all of a sudden he's a bad father, but she wasn't saying that before. And the thing is like...
She said she was trying to uphold his image.
But it's like, why? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're being a hypocrite because it's like now that it's on you, all of a sudden now you're done holding his image. It's like, you can't sit there and just, I don't know, just use that narrative now. You know what I'm saying? Right.
I wonder why she deleted the post.
Because that's a strong allegation that she may not have maybe the evidence for. At the end of the day, 50's also a very powerful person, and God knows what he's gonna do in regards to defamation of character, and he's powerful, so he can easily sue her.
But he also posted a picture of her and Diddy walking together.
But that doesn't mean that... What do you mean? What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything.
All right,
but I just feel like people now with the block being hot are just gonna automatically assume like, oh, are you lying about what you say? Like,
right. And that's the issue. Like, we got to really be careful with how we view these things, because at the end of the day, you have he said, she said, and it would be fucked up if it's actually true. If because at the end of the day, 50 Cent is not an innocent man, and he is not a good father, and it's very known that he's not a good father. So it's like, I wouldn't put it past that any of that is true. I mean, it could very well be. I'm very big on like, if a woman is saying that, then, but it's also just convenient now that you're coming out saying that, you know, it's just timing. Like,
Yeah.
why are you saying that now?
Yeah. Because
You know?
she feels like he, you know?
And also, I want to put another perspective on y'all because I'm going to use this as an example. Do you think, and I'm going to ask you this question, do you think that Young Miami and Daphne Joy, these girls literally viewed themselves as sex workers, even though technically they were? Like, here's the thing, right? Because like I can see from a perspective of her, if she is telling the truth in a sense where she doesn't believe she was a sex worker.
Right.
She just did favors.
So is that your question for me?
Do you think that it's possible that, just like I'm going to use from my personal experience, if you like, when I was heavy into like my addictions and someone called me an addict, I'd call them fucking crazy. You're absolutely, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're disrespectful. How dare you? Yeah. But then now in retrospect, I'm looking at that and I'm like, yeah, heavy addict. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do you think that she viewed herself as a sex worker, which is why she's saying like, this is a defamation of character, because maybe she really didn't view herself as a sex worker.
That was one of the first things I thought. I'm not gonna lie. One of the first things my gut was telling me was that you probably don't think you're a sex worker because you don't want to use that term, maybe because you know other sex workers and maybe you may not do what they do, but like technically you were being hired and paid monthly for sex services, so that would make you a sex worker. Maybe you were either coerced into it, or maybe you were like, okay, my kids gotta eat, I gotta eat, and decided this is a one-time or a little short thing. But yeah, that's a sex worker.
But you also mentioned that has an OnlyFans, which technically makes
you're
you
a sex worker. That's what I said. And not for nothing, like, it may sound hella fucking ignorant because not everybody that has an OnlyFans is doing sex, but I looked at her OnlyFans and yeah, you are, you know, doing sexual activity. You are posing and posting lewd photos. So I'm sorry, that just doesn't help your case.
Yeah.
It doesn't help your case that you're saying, you're boldly saying that it's false. And at the end of the day, we don't know nothing. So, but I feel like the OnlyFans does not help her case. Mm-hmm. It makes me think you're a liar and Diddy was definitely paying you for some fucking sex.
Well, there is this video. I haven't personally found it, but I know that it is out there because, again, shout out to Tisa. Tisa Tells is in cahoots with her lawyers right now to see if it's legal to share it because people have sent this to her.
What? That's how you know.
There is a video of Daphne giving Diddy a foot massage. And there are men recording it on their phones. And it's just a very weird video because it's like, why are there a bunch of men recording it? And it's weird.
But what you want to say?
But obviously it's a foot massage. But first of all, I haven't seen the video. Second of all, she's trying to see if she could release it because if it was done in a hotel or in a resort, she can because it's done in a public place. But if it's done in his house, she can't do that because then it's illegal.
This is fucking crazy.
So hopefully we can like get that video. It would be nice to get that, but you guys got to follow her to see updates on whether or not she's able to release it or not. But there is a video out there that people have sent her that exists, and it's like
with Daphne Joy in it.
Yeah, so it's like weird, you know, like it makes you question.
It's not helping your case.
It's
like,
not. It's
not. I'm sorry, like, you know, y'all probably gonna be mad and talk shit. No, I don't care. Like, it doesn't help your case. I'm sorry. It doesn't.
And, you know, I'm a big empathizer for especially women, like, you know, in these cases. I really am. So it's like, but you're right.
I just feel like when you put yourself in it, it's only so much I can empathize with.
Right.
After a while, you also have to hold yourself accountable as the grown woman that made the decision.
Right. And that's what, you know, a perspective that, you know, I've talked to a few people who have different perspectives because it's good to really get an idea of what people are saying. And that is a common thing with the stories on Cassie. And this is where I say it's like borderline, like, because can you say that it's victim blaming? yes and no, because it's like, I can see how it can feel like it's victim blaming, but at the end of the day, you know, you are the adult and you are making these decisions to put yourself in these situations.
Right. Well, with Cassie, she was underage.
Yeah.
So I feel like that
it's different.
It's different because he really groomed her.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, emotional manipulation at that young of an age, and then she was dealing with him for years, being in that situation. Every time you tried to leave, he would threaten someone you cared about, or threaten to kill someone you care about, or blow up Kid Cudi's car.
Right.
Always do all these crazy things and just hurt you again. So it's like, being underage in that situation is tough. It's tough to get out of that situation. You know? So.
But yeah.
Well, another thing I wanted to share, which is kind of crazy. I know you had mentioned the whole Jay-Z thing, how Jay-Z been real quiet. And that's one of the things that 50 Cent had posted. He had posted a picture of a fucking milk carton with Jay-Z's face on it saying missing. And the caption says, anybody seen Jay? LOL. Puff said the nigga ain't answering his phone. LOL.
Yo,
and I'm just like, it's very interesting because people do talk about this. Like, we don't know anything, but people do say, at the end of the day, P. Diddy and Jay-Z practically like got up together in the business. They were close, you know, and I just think it's interesting how, you know.
Well, here's what I was telling Tiana. I think, first of all, that fucking carton shit is stupid. I can't. But there's a video where Diddy says the only person that can call him by his first name is like someone else and then Jay-Z, which describes how close they are.
Right.
And they're very close. And it would be very ignorant of me as a person to think that if you're that close enough to call him by his name, Sean, that you didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And I've been talking about Jay-Z and his bullshit. And I said to Tiana, in 10 years from now, we're going to come back to this because in 10 years, I promise you, 15 years, you're going to see the same thing happen with Jay-Z and you're going to see he is smarter. He is a lot quieter. He is a lot more patient when it comes to doing his shit, but he's not innocent.
Right.
And I'm telling you now, he has a lot of secrets and it's not good. You can't tell me you didn't know what Diddy was doing, bro.
But also, it's like what you always say, you know, tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are.
Period.
And if they were that close,
period.
You know, people are also saying that, or speculating that allegedly Jay-Z was also the one behind Aaliyah's death. So, you know, hey, people want to call it conspiracy theory. At the end of the day, no one knows anything and nothing has really come out concrete to really put a fire under his ass. But people speculate those things. People speculate, you know, him being in cahoots with R. Kelly when it comes to certain things.
He was good friends with him. He stood by him even when he was like, you know what I'm saying? And look,
look, everything that's happening around these people, you're also around them. So it's like, if that's happening with R. Kelly, you were close with R. Kelly. This is happening with P. Diddy. You were very close with P. Diddy.
You telling me you don't do the same?
Right.
Please.
Right. Who's saying that you're not also involved in doing some crazy shit? And people also speculate that he kills off his mistresses. But hey, that's a conversation for another day. We don't know nothing about that. So moving on.
It's true. It's very true. And also, I want to go back to the 50 Cent thing. Like, and this is why I kind of just like, I'm kind of over him talking about the Diddy situation.
Yo, he is having too much. He is having a bull online.
I feel like he's being a little bit of a bully.
But he's always been like that. But yeah, I think he's trolling too much. I think he's doing too much.
I feel like he should focus on his real enemy, which is Diddy, and leave his ex-girl alone or his baby mama.
Like he keeps talking about the girl.
Sex worker. At the end of the day, God forbid she actually is a victim.
Right.
You're really abusing a victim right now.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, again, like, yes, it's easy to think that she's just not a victim, but we don't know, you know? And imagine 5 years from now, we get all the details and it's actually a lot deeper and a lot more uglier and she's actually a victim.
Yeah.
How does that look on him?
Yeah. Like,
how does that look on us?
I understood the first post, like, I didn't know he was a sex worker. But then when he just kept posting and posting and posting.
I feel like he's kicking a person while they're down.
He's doing a lot. Like, the media is already doing enough. Like, you're not helping. And then this whole thing about, I want custody of my kid. Like, You didn't want custody of your kid before. Now all of a sudden you want custody of your kid.
And why do you want custody of your kid when you're a bad father?
Right. Is it just to prove a point?
That's it. It's an ego thing.
That's what it's giving.
And that's why I don't like him really. He's doing too much. He's trolling now and it's pissing me off.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you a grown-ass man. Why don't you stick with other grown men? Leave the women alone. That's all That's how I feel.
That part.
Why are you picking on the girl? It's weird.
Yeah, he's doing a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
He be picking on everybody. He don't care. He say equal rights for everybody.
Well, someone needs to call him out on it.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know details just like none of us.
Agreed.
So it's like, who the fuck are you to sit there and, you know what I'm saying, just because you have history with this girl. And again, she could very much be not a victim, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, if you out in the street seeing a man pick on a girl, you really not going to feel some type of way. It's the same thing online. Like, you're really cyberbullying this girl as if she doesn't already have a lot to deal with.
Right.
And she's a whole mom who's been taking care of your son, my nigga. Like, where have you been?
Right. So I know we did talk about the whole Usher thing. We did talk about just like all of these allegations against him. And we mentioned Justin Bieber at some point. Yeah. And of course, an old clip, you know, these things always resurface. An old clip of, you know, P. Diddy talking to Justin Bieber, talking about how you think you big shit. You don't invite me no more. You don't come to my whatever. I don't see you no more. And honestly, it's really interesting because Justin Bieber looks so uncomfortable in this video. And it's like, first of all, you're a grown ass man. What business do you have with a whole 15-year-old boy?
Word.
Talking about you don't invite me out. You don't hang out with me no more. Like,
weirdo.
What? It sounds weird. Does that not sound weird to you?
You know how I feel about
right. You don't hang out with me no more. And the nigga's 15. What? You're grown. Hang out. Hang out where?
Right.
Why? With who?
Right. Right.
The fuck?
It's good. Selling out arenas and everything. Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot. But you never really got my number, so.
Right. Okay.
My number?
So awkward.
Yo, that video, I've seen it so many times, and it makes me so upset every time because, one, you can see how uncomfortable he is, but also, I know that Justin Bieber has been exploited in the industry. Like, we talk a lot about how women get exploited and get, go through these things of like sexual harassment, but we kind of turn a blind eye when it comes to men in the industry. Yeah. And Justin Bieber was one of those who, he was a little boy when he was found, and he was sexualized OD. If you want to go and look up on your own, which makes me sad because it explains why he has so much emotional issues to this day. But if you go look up all these interviews with Bieber, or like, there are moments where girls are grabbing him, kissing him. And like, if it was the opposite way, where it was a young girl and a man doing that, the world would have lost their shit. Yeah. But because it's Justin and it's a boy, no one was really questioning it. But now looking, and I couldn't believe it, because obviously I was just as young as him, so it really, I didn't know. Yeah. But if I was a grown ass woman seeing that shit, it would be a huge red flag. But if y'all go look it up, this kid has been through a lot of fucked up shit in the industry. So then now knowing that and then seeing that clip, it really makes me sad, because he looks intimidated.
Yeah.
He looks intimidated, which is telling. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you feel the energy through the screen.
Energy don't lie.
I'm just like,
I'm
like uncomfortable watching it. Like, I feel like the secondhand uncomfortable
and
energy.
like you said, what are you doing hanging out with a 15-year-old?
What are you doing? What are worried you doing about a 15-year-old hanging out with you?
What are you doing hanging out with a 13-year-old Usher? What are you doing? And
why was he at your house for a year?
That's some weird shit.
What was going on for a year?
Some weird shit. I can't. And that bothers me, because this is what I talk about with kids in the industry. This is what I talk about with kids in the industry. Yep. I'm very passionate about that, because at the end of the day, they are vulnerable. Yeah. Vulnerable. Fuck. Vulnerable as hell.
And helpless. It's like, they don't have like any control. Like, they can't do anything.
What do you mean? And they have to be good with these people because they're in charge of their careers. And if they don't fucking, get their career right, then they don't make money for them and their family. Right. And it's like, bro, That bothers the shit out of me. That really does. Which, again, goes back to Diddy's sons, right? If he can do it to strangers, it wouldn't surprise me not one bit that he does it to his own sons, to, you know, and Diddy is smart. He puts a lot of his assets under his sons' names, you know? So it doesn't surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise me that he is repeating this cycle. He's an abuser, in my opinion. And I don't know, which is why going back to the raid, it doesn't make me feel bad because, like, I don't know, here's the video of, I don't know who released this video because it sure as hell wasn't his sons. I don't know if some assistant, who the fuck got into the house after, but they recorded what the house looked like after the raid. And here's what it looked like. So this is what the house looked like after the cops raided it. And it looks like a fucking crime scene. They tore their house upside down. First of all, I want to talk about how uncomfortable, I can imagine what it's like. Because to me, I would feel horrible. Like, you know, if someone just violated my privacy like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, their house was turned upside down. They were looking for shit. And it turns out that they found a lot of hidden cameras. A lot of hidden cameras in the house. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people, there's theories on why this is happening. One is, you know, they actually have evidence on Diddy, and, you know, Lil Rod had some, you know, good enough evidence to...
And, you know, sex trafficking.
Right. Call for, you know, this whole raid. But, which I think is also an interesting perspective, what if Diddy had pissed off? Because Diddy's the puppet. There are higher people. Clive Davis is one of the famous ones who are just known to have been, who did this to Diddy, right? And you know who Clive Davis is, right?
No.
You didn't know
that?
That
brings up something else.
Okay, good. So Clive Davis is Diddy's, you know, mentor, taught him everything he knows, stands by him to this, well, I don't know now, but I wonder if maybe Diddy had pissed someone off, one of the elites. Maybe it's Clive Davis, but also he got into a lawsuit with vodka, the Ciroc, the guy, whatever. He was partnership with that Ciroc brand, and they got into a lawsuit. And it was kind of after that lawsuit where things started going downhill for Diddy. So maybe he pissed off someone, and now they're using the raid as a way to confiscate the proof that Diddy has on the people who have attended his parties. Because at the end of the day, if you put yourself in Diddy's situation, right? He knows he's not the only one.
Right.
So he's like, well, fuck it. Imagine he's like, fuck it. If I'm going to go down, I'm bringing everyone down with me. And you know the elite's not going to want that. You know the elite's not going to want that. So they're going to be like, oh, okay. Because how is it that he's gotten away with it
for so
long? And now all of a sudden.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
You know, it's just, it's important to think about the timing. Why now? What are they trying to distract us with? Right. What is going on? Because this has been going on for years. There have been victims. You know, he's been in cahoots with powerful people. He's in cahoots with the mayor of New York. He has the key to New York. Okay, so it's like, I wonder why now? It's important to think about that because it's like, maybe it's deeper.
Yeah.
You know, maybe their raid wasn't to find more evidence. Maybe it was to wipe the evidence.
Yeah, which is what a lot of people speculate. And that brings up this one video. Shout out to one of our coworkers, Yvette. That's why I give her a shout out. She put me onto this. But back in November, in 2023, there was a psychic by the name of Sloan Bella that apparently had predicted the demise of Diddy happening in March.
What?
Yeah, it's weird. So I'm going to show this video. And whether you believe in this stuff or not, I still think it's crazy because you just never know.
Heavy coincidence.
Heavy coincidence. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? So here it is.
I'm seeing something by March with P. Diddy, another level of this. We're not done. It's like he's going to have to keep putting tarps over the hole in the roof because the rain keeps coming through. So just when he thinks he covered up the hole, another hole starts down there. And when he thinks he covered that hole, another hole starts over there. So it's not going to stop. Like, he's not off the hook. He may have paid Cassie, and good for her for getting out of it. Horrific, 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 horrific. It doesn't matter who you slept with. Why is that blackmail? Stand up and say, this dude drugged me and he did this. She finally said it. And he doesn't want to face what he's done, but it doesn't matter. He's exceptionally psychic, by the way, so he gets physical feelings on when he kind of knows it. And
okay, so that was a part of what she was saying. So there's a whole video on that, but there's another part of that where she does talk about Kim Porter, where she says that she, and this is going to sound weird for those that don't believe in this, but she said that she feels that Kim Porter was communicating through her and at some point was communicating to her at some point. And in this video, she also claims that she sees that there is a friend of Kim Porter's that is secretly building evidence against Diddy. Secretly. We don't know how much that's true, but there is one thing that she said in that specific portion that caught my attention, which again, all of this is alleged because we don't know anything, but it just raised a crazy question, and it kind of just ties into what you were saying about the mayor and about the raid and about what are they trying to cover up and all this stuff. So here it is.
That did to him what he did to this current girlfriend and to Kim Porter and every other person that he's been around to take advantage of on an energetic level, he is now going to reap that. That is now happening to him because they don't want the person who groomed him to go down. And that guy hides in the background. There's a whole bunch of like political stuff going on. Like, there's political stuff. There's ties to this country, that country. And there are younger musicians that are going to come out against him and talk about what he did. The bodies that are buried, okay? So the bodies that are buried, they're going to talk about it. Talk about it. There are men in other countries who are going to speak about it. There is political connections to him in other countries and this country. They're going to speak about it. The clothing is a front for something else. The clothing is a front. Of course, they have to produce clothing, obviously, or you can't sell clothing, but it's a front for something else. That clothing traveled all over the world. What happened as that clothing was traveling all over the world? That too is going to be rectified. So this man's going down. Within 4 years, I see his energy kind of whitewashed out, and I don't feel...
So she said that she doesn't feel that he's going to be around. So that to me was like, yo, goosebumps, because the clothing is a front for something else. Like, what does that even mean? You know?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Very interesting.
And this is where I guess people who argue about bringing the black man down, that's a part of their argument, right? That there are actually a lot of white elite behind this, and Diddy is just a puppet for the fall guy. They're using him as the fall guy, which there is truth to that, but that doesn't make him any less of a bad person.
That doesn't make him innocent.
Right. So, but going back to the fact that, you know, it does make you question, and I think as a viewer and as someone who's watching this go down, it's important to question that, right? Because again, who's benefiting from this now?
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just, it's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting. Very interesting stuff. But his lawyer did come out and make a statement, and like always on this channel, we do give both sides. We try not to be biased. So we're gonna read this here. What?
Sorry, I'm just laughing.
Oh, the hip hop mogul's attorney Aaron Dyer told TMZ, yesterday there was a gross overuse of military level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residence. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. He adds, Mr. Combs was never detained but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way. Dyer goes on. This unprecedented ambush, paired with an advanced coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. Dyer underscores, there has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name.
Yeah, I saw that. Of course he's going to say that. He's his fucking attorney. Like, come on. Like, I don't expect nothing else from an attorney, okay? Like, they're going to say that because they work for you. Like, the fuck? You know, like, so, like, I really don't care. But, I mean...
well, you know, we got to, you know...
No, yeah,
because there are... I mean, there is...
So, do you think this raid was just to scare him?
Yeah.
That's it. It was just a warning for something else?
I don't know. I feel like the cops are very psychological in that sense, you know? It does, like, I feel like it's more than just to scare him, but there is a reasoning why it was as military and ambushy as it was. Because first of all, that's what every raid is like.
Right.
But I feel like there is a psychological reasoning why it's like that. Because, you know, again, people who've never been in handcuffs before, they're going to be the first to talk. They're going to be scared. And the point of those type of things is to send the message, right? You see this, it's going on now. They called the news as it was happening. Homeland Security, they did that on purpose. You know what I'm saying? To send a message. Like, we're going to take you down so whoever is in cahoots with Diddy can speak and cover their ass because they want Diddy. You know, or, you know what I'm saying? They want the big guy. They don't care about these other people. They're willing to give people, you know, immunity if you're going to give me evidence that's going to help you bring Diddy down. That's how the cops work.
Someone was already granted immunity for giving information. I forgot their name, but someone that was in cahoots with Diddy was already granted immunity, which is crazy.
Okay, so I know who you're talking about. I really can't remember her name right now. It starts with an E, but she was a higher up in the industry. She was never his employee, but I know that she had got fired. There's like this whole thing behind her shit, but she's willing to talk. Long story short, you guys got to look it up. She was like, she's heavy in the industry. She's been in the industry. She's actually very respected, holds a powerful position as well. Never worked for Diddy, but was basically the middleman between the company she worked for and then Diddy and his whole situation, what was going on. So basically, when shit went down, they basically used her as the fall guy and fired her. And that's why she's willing to talk now. Some shit like that. It really goes deep. And that's what I'm saying. Like, this episode is already long enough, and we haven't even scraped the surface.
No.
Because it actually, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
There's so much out there. And I think I just, you know, want to fall back and really talk about the question that led us here. I asked Tiana and I said, are we witnessing the fall of Hollywood? What do you think?
I think we're witnessing the fall of something. I'm not necessarily sure, but it does feel like Hollywood's glasses are starting to crackle and crumble.
The smoke is clearing.
You know, the smoke is clearing and your glass barriers are starting to crack. And we're starting to see the people that you hide behind those beautiful glam glass ceilings. And that's what I think is happening.
It's interesting because this year alone has been, you had
Cat Williams coming out,
Monique
talking,
Megan Thee Stallion, Kelsey Nicole,
that whole Ryan Garcia, wild,
Quiet on Set, obviously the Diddy. It's kind of crazy because, I mean, it's funny because Cat Williams was like, this is the year of the truth. And it's kind of weird how, like,
It is the year of the truth.
It is.
And he did mention Diddy, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Man, people been saying this shit for years.
Yeah, which again is interesting. And I don't know if it's like the solar system, like, you know, going around and there's like all these weird things that are making people talk.
Are the planets in alignment? Like, what is going on?
There's so much weird
shit. The
shit.
Baltimore Bridge collapsing. I do not care. That is weird that the container ship lost power.
We have the solar eclipse coming.
Bro.
And they're like doing some weird shit where they're warning you to like, don't do this and don't do that. And it's kind of weird because, I mean, there was a solar eclipse like, I don't know how many years ago, but I remember it being a thing.
Yeah.
And I remember very clearly because I was actually working at a job that was hella racist. And I remember going out during lunch trying to see it or whatever. You had to wear glasses or whatever. Mm-hmm. Someone had bought the special glasses to see it. Yeah. And it wasn't even anything crazy. So I think it's weird that they're making it a big deal now. Because I know back then it wasn't made a big deal. Like
solar eclipses are always made a big deal. You just have to travel to go see it.
No. In a sense where like, yes, everyone was excited to see it. But they're warning you to like have candles around if it's dark or if you lose power. It's like weird. They wasn't doing that the last time it happened.
That's true, but there's always been this whole thing like when it dates back to the origins of solar eclipses where people do feel like a solar eclipse is like a warning because that's the day of darkness. So there are origins. You don't take me seriously, but it's true. So this is true. Like this is the old ways of thinking and how people used to view solar eclipse.
Yeah, but we 2024.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. You're saying that people wasn't saying that the last time, but I feel like people were always saying that.
I was alive. I'm talking about the last time, which was like 10, 15 years ago. I don't even remember, but it was not that long ago. I remember it. Yeah. I'm not talking about back in the day before internet. I'm talking about the day of the internet.
What people are saying now is what people used to say back then,
which is weird because it kind of makes me feel like is the government planning on doing something? Like I don't get why you're scaring people. Like that's where the part is. Like my grandma today called me. Well, I called her and she goes, you know, she said she's so cute because this is what they're telling her on the news. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to remember grandma, she watches the news. So she goes, mommy, you know, I really want you to be careful. It's okay to, you know, I know you like to do crazy things, but don't go and travel. Don't drive. Make sure you have candles. They're saying, you know, to have food just in case it go. She said that the news said to her that just in case it goes dark for 3 days.
But you know what's crazy though? What's weird about that is that there was a warning before the container ship lost power. They were warned, hey, something's going on with the power. They still went out anyway.
You know what's funny? She used that as the example.
Ship lost power.
She said, because you never know. And I was like, Grandma, come on now.
Collapse the bridge.
My grandma's the same one that said, oh, she don't go to LA because she think the earthquake is going to separate LA.
Okay, well, that don't got nothing.
Wait. But it's like, just in case. Okay, you know that's not going to happen. But I guess, and then she used the boat. Well, look what happened in Baltimore. Bro, you and my grandma need to just go with your conspiracy theory somewhere.
Bitch, this whole fucking episode is a conspiracy theory at this point. So don't even say that to me. Gosh. Secondly, I don't care what you say. The ship losing power reminded me of the movie Leave the World Behind. Yeah. That big ass ship lost power and crashed onto the beach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? The world is ending. The world is ending. I don't care what you say. Like Ryan Garcia, beat it, quiet on set, all these things. The bridge, like what? Nah, y'all not gonna tell me that.
We going off the rails now. We going off the rails now. We going off the rails.
Solar eclipse coming.
We gotta bring it back.
The world, something going on. This is a warning.
You know whose world is ending? Diddy's world is ending. Diddy's world is fucking ending, bro. I cannot. Because
Kesha said, "Wake up in the morning feeling just like me."
Right. For
Change the lyrics.
For real. Yo, some people was even saying, oh, it's no coincidence that the containers, you know, crashed. and Diddy's house got raided. And I'm like, bro, what? Y'all are reaching.
Yeah, y'all reaching.
Said what was in those containers?
What was in the container that you really had to ship them that bad?
That was a heavy port. People like that's a big port where there's so many containers that go through there every day. Like
I don't care what you say.
It was just a freak accident.
It was a freak accident, but also I don't know. A container ship losing power like that.
I mean, listen, hey, we talking about Diddy here, so we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back. So the last thing up until this point, up until literally a couple hours ago, before we started recording, this is the last information that we have, and that is that the companies tied to Diddy get federal subpoenas this week amid investigation, which is pretty. He should be scared. This is definitely only the beginning of his takedown. And for those that don't know what a federal subpoena is, it is a written order to compel an individual to give testimony on a particular subject, often before a court, but sometimes in other proceedings. A subpoena issued through a federal court commanding your appearance at a certain place at a certain time. So basically, they're going to have to testify. And yeah, so which is something that, again, should concern Diddy and makes me question why he sold all his assets to Revolt TV. It makes me question a lot of that. So, I mean, I don't know. This is only the beginning, and it's only going to get crazier from here. So maybe we'll do a part 2 when it's the end and we have a lot more information. This is all, just coming out now. We're listening and, getting this as much as you guys are. And I'm sure by the time this airs, there's going to be more
information.
Right. So be easy on us. We're just, right. We record days prior. So yeah. And I think that's it, Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't have anything else to say. I feel like I said everything I wanted to say. This is not just a coincidence. I know there is a lot of he say, she say, but I feel like the dots are starting to connect a little bit.
100%.
And if y'all can't see that because y'all don't want to bring a black man down, then I feel sorry for you guys.
Yeah. But there's a lot more people that are, not that silly and are actually, you can't deny what's in your face at this point.
Right. At this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's all the information and thoughts that we have to share. If you guys have any thoughts, if you guys have any information y'all want to share, definitely comment them below. We love to read the comments. We always read it. And yeah, I don't know why I said it like that. I had a spasm. But yeah, I mean.
Yes, definitely. Definitely comment your thoughts. Tell us if we missed anything. Tell us the things we didn't know here, because I know there's a lot that we missed. Listen, we're not perfect, okay? If we fucking had all the receipts, we'd be here for hours. Okay?
Days.
Yeah, so be easy on us. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Why do you think it's happening now?
Right.
What do you think about the raid? Do you think Diddy is just a puppet? I want to know your thoughts. It'd be really interesting to get other perspectives.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
That's pretty much it. So where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. That's JESSI.strange. And where can they find you, Tiana?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Randomania1. You guys can find us on Instagram at the Petty Headquarters. We release episodes every Tuesday at 4 p.m. You can find us on all your podcast platforms. And if you want to watch visual episodes, just go to YouTube, Pettyson Productions, or just you can search in Petty Headquarters. Will pop up. And yeah.
And don't forget to also leave a review. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, we'd really appreciate it.
Rate and leave a review.
It makes so much of a difference. Like and share this video with people who, want to have this conversation and want to know information about Diddy and
yeah. And with that being said, this was your weekly dose of mess.
Chaos.